Right now, you have files stored somewhere you have never been, photos from years ago, documents you forgot existed, videos you will probably never watch again. You call it the cloud. You imagine something weightless, something invisible, something free. But the cloud is not weightless, it is not invisible, and it is definitely not free. Somewhere on this earth, right now, there is a building the size of several football fields. It has no windows. It has armed security. It runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Inside that building are thousands of servers, physical machines, holding your files, your memories, your work, your secrets. And the company that owns that building is charging you for the privilege every single month for the rest of your life. This is the cloud storage industry, a business so simple it almost feels like a trick. Store other people's data, charge them monthly, never stop. Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Apple, Dropbox. These are the landlords of the digital world, and their properties are worth hundreds of billions of dollars. Here is how it actually works. You create a file, you click upload, it feels instant, it feels effortless, but the moment that file leaves your device, it enters a global infrastructure of staggering physical scale. Your data travels through fiber optic cables at nearly the speed of light. It arrives at one of thousands of data centers, massive industrial facilities distributed across the planet. It is stored not once, but 3 times, in 3 different locations, for redundancy, for safety, for permanence. You are not renting cloud space, you are renting physical space in a physical building, on physical machines, with physical electricity, with physical cooling systems running day and night, every single second. Cooling systems the size of entire city blocks work to keep those machines from overheating. The cloud is not a metaphor, it is an industrial operation on a scale most people cannot begin to imagine. Now here is where the economics become extraordinary. Amazon Web Services, AWS, generated over $90 billion in revenue in a single year. That is more revenue than most countries produce in their entire national output. And AWS is only one division of Amazon, a division that started as an internal experiment and became the most profitable business on earth. Microsoft Azure generated over $45 billion in a single year. Google Cloud crossed $30 billion. Together, these 3 companies control approximately 65% of the entire world's cloud infrastructure, 65% of every file, every database, every application, every digital system on the planet, controlled by 3 companies, with headquarters in the same country, on the same coast. But here is what makes this business model almost unfairly profitable. The marginal cost of storing 1 additional gigabyte of your data is nearly 0. The data center is already built, the servers are already running, the electricity is already flowing, the cooling systems are already operating. Adding your files to that system costs them almost nothing, but they charge you as if it costs something. Every month, without fail, forever. This is called a recurring revenue model, and it is the most powerful business structure in modern capitalism. You pay once, you keep paying, and unless you delete everything and leave, you never stop paying. And leaving is harder than it sounds. Think about what you have stored in the cloud right now. Years of photos, contacts, calendars, email archives, work documents, application data, backup files you have forgotten exist. Could you realistically move all of that somewhere else? Could you even identify everything that is stored there? For most people, the answer is no, and the cloud companies know this better than anyone. Your switching cost, the effort, the time, the risk of moving everything is so high that most customers never leave. This is not just a storage business, it is a retention machine. A machine designed not just to attract customers, but to make leaving feel impossible. Now consider the enterprise side of this industry. Individual consumers paying monthly subscription fees are only a fraction of the total revenue. The real money is in business cloud contracts. A single enterprise deal with a major corporation can be worth hundreds of millions of dollars per year. Netflix runs entirely on AWS. So does Airbnb. So does NASA. So does a significant portion of the United States government. When your hospital stores your medical records, they are almost certainly stored in a cloud owned by Amazon, Microsoft, or Google. When your bank processes a transaction, the data passes through cloud infrastructure owned by one of these 3 companies. When a government agency runs a classified intelligence operation, increasingly, the storage and processing is cloud-based. The cloud is not just where your photos live. It is the backbone of global civilization, and it is owned by 3 American technology companies. Here is a number that reframes everything you think you know about this industry. The global cloud storage market is projected to exceed $1.2 trillion by 2030. Not billion, trillion. That is more than the GDP of most nations on Earth, and it is growing at over 20% per year. Every new application, every new connected device, every new business that digitizes its operations, every new government that moves its records online, all of them become new customers of the cloud. The demand is not slowing down. It is accelerating beyond any historical precedent. But there is a side to this story that the industry does not advertise. The cloud is extraordinarily energy hungry. Data centers currently consume approximately 1 to 2% of all global electricity production. That number sounds small, until you realize global electricity production is measured in the tens of thousands of terawatt-hours per year. 1 to 2% of that is the equivalent of powering entire nations. And as artificial intelligence, video streaming, and digital commerce continue to grow, that number is rising rapidly. Some projections suggest data centers could consume up to 8% of global electricity by 2030. The companies storing your vacation photos are running industrial facilities that rival the energy consumption of entire countries. And the water consumption is equally staggering. Data centers use billions of liters of water every year for cooling systems. In drought-affected regions, these facilities compete directly with local communities for water resources. The environmental cost of the cloud is real, physical, and growing, even as the product itself remains invisible. And there is another question that almost nobody asks. Who actually owns your data once it is in the cloud? The terms of service documents are long. The language is deliberately complex. Most people never read them. But buried inside those agreements are clauses that grant these companies extraordinarily broad rights over what you store. Rights to analyze your data. Rights to use aggregated data for product development. Rights to share data with subsidiaries, partners, and in some cases, governments. Your files are their business, and your business is their data. Now consider what happens when a cloud company goes down. In 2021, a single AWS outage took down Netflix, Disney+, McDonald's, Robinhood, and thousands of other services simultaneously. For several hours, a significant portion of the global digital economy simply stopped functioning. One company, one outage, global paralysis. This is the fragility hidden inside the cloud's promise of permanence. The same concentration of infrastructure that makes cloud storage profitable makes the global economy vulnerable in ways that have never existed before. Amazon, Google, and Microsoft did not build these empires by accident. They understood something before almost anyone else did, that the future of every economy, every government, every business, every individual life would be digital, and that digital things need to be stored somewhere. So they built the somewhere. They built it fast. They built it at a scale nobody else could match, and then they waited for the world to have no choice but to use it. Now the world has no choice. Every hospital, every bank, every government, every startup, every individual with a smartphone, all of them dependent on infrastructure owned by 3 companies. All of them paying, every month, every year. You will never visit the building that holds your memories. You will never meet the engineers who keep your files alive through power outages and hardware failures and cyber attacks. You will never see the electricity bill that keeps your data safe. You will never know which country your files are physically stored in at this exact moment. But every month, quietly, automatically, invisibly, you will pay for it. And every month, they will profit, because the cloud is not a cloud at all. It is a building. It is a business. It is a dependency. And it is one of the most powerful and quietly dangerous economic structures ever created. You thought you were storing files. What you were actually doing was subscribing to an empire, and that empire is not going anywhere.